that people are talking about, which I started to hear about at the mHealth Summit, and the conversation continues, is that we're at the point in mHealth of moving away from just developing things to actually trying to answer the question of, does it work? Does it bring value? So a lot of people are saying that the next several years are going to be the age of validation.
HIMSS14 really had no patient engagement the way I look at it. There was some talking about it because it's in meaningful use, a tiny little bit. But if all people are doing is ticking off a box, this is not patient engagement. This year, we're getting more serious about patient activation, patient involvement, do-it-yourself healthcare. And so I'm much more encouraged this year because there's a lot more patient engagement tools happening on the show floor, and more importantly, I think, in the education sessions. There are at least 36 sessions devoted to people, patients, consumers, caregivers, hello, and so that the education is starting to filter that theme through, and that means people have case studies to share, real life data to share about what's working, what they're learning. This is really exciting. That then will inform the technology development when it's people-centered.
I'm an industrial engineer who went to medical school, so I'm interested in workflow and workflow technology. Healthcare IT has not had a lot of true workflow technology, and I've been tracking it for over a decade. And last year, I went to every single of the 1,200 websites of all the exhibitors, and I searched and I found everybody that talked about my favorite little area of workflow automation. And about 8% had it. And I tweeted about them and so forth, network. This year, I did the same thing, and that number has gone up to between 16 and 20%. So I'm seeing more than a double of the diffusion of what I like, of my favorite technology that healthcare needs out there on the floor.
Kind of have two things, I think. I think the first thing was interoperability. I mean, we talked about interoperability the last few years, but this year, people are we really have to get after it. So they're really more interested in finding ways to make their organization interoperable, and they're finding the solutions because they're out there and they're kind of developed further along. And the other thing is that I'm really seeing a lot of social media usage, and I'm not saying that just because I'm encouraging people to use social media because I use it. Sometimes, I get a little discouraged when I use it. I'm not getting anything good or value out of the social media. But then I sat in the back of a interoperability meeting earlier today, and I looked around and I saw 6 or 8 screens open, and they're all tuned into Twitter, what was going on into the Twitter stream, and so they can learn and share and hear what's going on here at the conference.
I think that the most exciting thing about patient engagement is that there are more and more vendors who seem to be interested in it and who are building platforms to try to support what they believe is patient engagement. What conversely is disappointing to me is that so few are actually explaining how and why patients would care and how to truly engage patients. An example that I continually go back to is my 90-year-old grandma. Is my 90-year-old grandma going to be able to access this technology, and more importantly, is she going to have the contextual awareness to understand what she's seeing? So we're giving all this clinical data, which I think is excellent, but are we providing contextual information so that patients can understand what to do with that data once they have it? And we're not there yet.